Now, you do not need a law degree to have an understanding of how troubling this is. There are chain of custody issues, there are preservation of materials and documents issues, there are spoliation of evidence issues, there are best evidence issues, in addition to asking about archives and what safeguards may have been in place to protect this information. And one should also be concerned about the national security implications of former Secretary Clinton using exclusively personal email accounts for the conducting of official U.S. foreign policy.
So while it is not illegal by any means to use a Gmail account or to use some other private account for the transaction of government business, it is a very unusual circumstance to solely use that account and then not to take steps during one's time in office to make sure that those email records are appropriately preserved.
Walking slowly. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Press. There was no prohibition on using a non-state.gov account for official business as long as it's preserved. So obviously, that's an important piece of this. When in the process of updating our records management, this is something that's sort of ongoing given technology and the changes. We reached out to all of the former secretaries of state to ask them to provide any records they had. Secretary Clinton sent back 55,000 pages of documents to the State Department very shortly after we sent the letter to her. She was the only former Secretary of State who sent documents back into this request.
Most of the 55,000 pages were emails to state.gov accounts belonging to other.
A vast majority. These 55,000 pages covered her time, the breadth of her time at the State Department. Secretary Kerry is the first Secretary of State to rely primarily on a state.gov account. So what Secretary Clinton did was by no means unusual. In fact, it had been the practice before Secretary Kerry. Thank you for your patience today.
Oh my goodness. We're fighting for an economy that works for everyone and includes everyone. That is the only way to achieve broad-based growth and prosperity in a world that is growing more competitive and interdependent every day.